Abhijit. Good morning and thanks for your time. I understand this is being a weekend and have been a busy schedule yesterday. You have taken a time for this interview. I really appreciate that. Before we start, would you like to give a brief about you to the audience and your journey? Then we can start over.
Sure. So, Wilson, I started my career maybe 2 decades prior, and I will elaborate more on this as we proceed with the question and answer. But I started in a department which was called as personal and administration. And from there, I moved on to facility management over a period of time. And I always believe that, in facility management, if you have to nurture, uh, education plays a very important role because FM has moved very fast in terms of trends and in terms of advances in terms of various expectation when we look at international exposure to the facility management, and with association like IFMA and other coming into picture, a lot of insights were even brought by them that what is expected from the facility manager when they talk about the international exposure. So I always feel that being an FM, it's very imperative for me to keep myself aware of the trends so that I am doing things proactively, because in admin reactive action has got no meaning, because at the end of the day, if you have to succeed, and although it's a thankless job, but if you have to create your presence felt, proactive approach is important. I feel education was a very important thing. So maybe I will tell you, I am one of the few admin heads who have done this doctorate maybe a decade ago, when nobody even thought that admin would be a doctorate. But I felt that having specialization in certain things would definitely help you out. Then over a period of time, I did my interior designing, I did my certifications, various certifications on supply chain, because I felt that admin also has to manage various stuff in regards to procurement. And definitely, if you are competent theoretically, definitely you are able to deliver more efficiently. So I also did a lot of research when I talk about supply chain. I'm also a Google scholar, so I always believe in continuously doing research and sharing it with the fraternity and community. So over a period of time, I started moving from core admin into facility management. Then I moved towards procurement, and then I also was able to handle travel and MICE as one of the domain, because I've done diploma in travel and hospitality management, but then being a speaker and one of the influencer in travel industry, I always feel that since hospitality is one of the key factor, so travel and hospitality goes hands in hand with the facility management. So I started my career with one of the known shipping company. Over a period of time, I started working with various organizations like HDFC Bank, ICICI Securities, the Bombay Bank, Piramal, and then my last assignment was Sharekhan by BNP Paribas, where I worked for 12 years. And when I left Sharekhan, I was heading the entire administration and indirect sourcing and travel and MICE. So then I felt that at the end of the day, with the accrued knowledge and the networking, it's very important for me to see that if I am able to do something for the community on coming on the other side, and I become their extended arm rather than becoming their vendor. And that is how it compelled me to move to an entrepreneur journey. And I partner with an association called Tech Solutions Pvt Ltd. So where we provide technical services to most of the corporates, and technical services are majorly challenges for these corporate FMs. And I feel that with my expertise, exposures, and quality of knowledge base which I have, I can understand their pain point, and then I can be more proactive than a vendor who must be doing, because for me, their objectives and goals are more important than the profitability which either the vendor would look into. So that is how I moved into Tech as one of the partner.
Great. Very inspiring and insightful journey. And one thing you said in the beginning, being admin is a thankless job from the beginning, right?
Yes.
And I also seen how admin has evolved. You said this in the beginning when we were just discussing off the line. You said initially it was personal and admin, then slowly the terminology changed to facilities management. Now it is moving to workplace management. I am very sure that term will keep changing, as we evolve. But
Absolutely.
end of the day, the activity and things, remain, or what we do at the back end will remain the same. But yes, with a flavor of a bit innovation and technology, it will also maybe over a period of time evolve. Right.
Absolutely.
So coming back to your job, I know you've been in admin throughout, and admin is a job where you have an in time but you don't have an out time. Seriously,
Absolutely.
because I know because you don't know what is going to come and fall on your lap.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
you go with one set of mind and with one set of tasks. Okay, you have these 10 things to do today, and you need to also have stakeholder management and user expectation. But, and what I wanted to know is how did you manage to do so much of certification and diplomas, doing this admin job? How did you manage the time?
See, what I believe, Wilson, is your aspiration is very important. Admin is a very, it's always a thankless job, and I'm sure it is going to be a thankless job. But yes, people have recognized admin as one of the key enabler. But then what happens, as you said, admin has no out time. And there are, highly, several uncertainties, unpredictability, because anything can happen anytime. Maybe in a week, once you are leaving at 6 p.m., there could be a chance that you are leaving at 10 p.m. There are also chances that you have to overstay the whole night. Suppose you have a transformer breakdown, you have to stand and ensure that the transformer is restored, because you cannot run the DG throughout the night, because it's going to absorb a lot of cost, and at the same time you not like to spend so much on this infrastructure, and also ensure that the power is up, because at the end of the day you want to have operations going seamlessly. So with this thing, you need to what one learns in administration is prioritizing his requirement, creating a structured process. And then what happens, admin is never a one person job, because I always believe that for you, right from the housekeeper till you yourself, your own, it has to be a top down approach. And if you start being a good mentor, and if you start nurturing a team, you will at least be able to spare out some time for yourself. In when you talk about your education, that is what I have always believed. If you start doing a micromanagement, probably you will confine to only doing things, because at the end of the day you will feel that no, if I leave this place, probably my team will not deliver, and that will not allow you to do anything beyond your office work. So somewhere or other, as a mentor, as a leader, you should start developing your team. Even if you're not there, they know that my mentor has taught me, and I'm quite confident to ensure that at least till this level, wherein you feel it is a critical, you should loop in and you should be there. But wherever you feel that you have brought them to a level wherein now they can take it over, please leave it to them, and trust them, and empower them. And that's where you get some time for yourself. And maybe by this approach and apprehension, I started creating certain times for me. And I started even during the office hours, if I have to give some time, I have to study books, and also that rather than getting into activities of Facebook or Instagram, I thought I will use this timing for my education, so that it will keep me appraised of my technical and non-technical knowledge, but also keep me ready for what can be a near future. So that is how I did, and I empowered my team, and I made them capable, so that I am able to take out some time for myself, and at least I prioritize education as one of my key needs, because I knew that if I start learning and inculcate that as a continuous process, probably I will be always be appraised of what the industry trend are. Even if I am on the other side today, it becomes a dual responsibility for me to understand what are the trends, because my customer expectations are always high. And today, when you are encountering a customer who is equally competent as you are, because customer also knows what their expectations are, and what as a strategic partner, what you can deliver. So I always believe that education is key, and somewhere or other you need to take out time for yourself. That is how I did it. I did
Very well.
sacrifice a lot, because maybe during vacation or holidays, rather than taking families for outing, I thought of using that time for education. So I did this that, and apparently my family was also very cooperative in supporting me, because they felt that this is the need of an hour. Because at this age, if I don't utilize the time in education, probably if once I lose the time, probably I will not get it back. So they also supported me in ensuring that I do my education in the right time.
Very well said. Very well said. One thing that hit me, what you said is about team empowerment. Mentoring and giving them the empowerment to take decision, take actions. I think once you start doing that, then get you also grow with them. How do your growth? Sometimes some I have seen most of the leaders, not most, some of the leaders who may not have that delegation authority. Maybe they want to delegate, but they don't know what to delegate and how to delegate.
Correct.
If you understand what all can be delegated and what is known core to you, but you can delegate to your team, where they will also learn and you'll also get some time for yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Coming back to this point, now if I want to ask you, who has been your mentor when you started this journey, and you would have also looked up to someone, whenever you wanted some advice when you were feeling low. So was there a mentor for you who inspired you?
See, Wilson, I will be very frank. The I don't want to name anybody specific, but I would say that I was lucky enough to work with people and to get their best out of my experience working with them. I will definitely throw lights on what I would learn, but for me, the source of motivation or inspiration was always Swami Vivekanand, because I am a strong follower of Swami Vivekanand, because his principles, his thought process, and his guidance in terms of national building and giving back to community has always created a strong aspiration in me. And that is why I took facility management as a serious profession, because this is the only profession which gives lot of stuff to the community. So now for me, community is not only my workplace, because there are a lot of activities which we do for the overall community. When we talk about ESG, when we talk about sustainability, and when we talk about CSR activities. So a time has gone, when you have community only defined to your gated community or your workplace, so you are handling a larger section of people. But then each mentor with whom I have worked, I have learned certain out of it. Some were very good, but some were very aggressive. But then out of their aggression, certain quality things came in. They taught me, when your aggression uh, gets converted into action, you need to be competent enough to judge that how you demonstrate your aggression. You have it within you, but don't express it to the people. Certain times it also happened that you have to work one day prior. Many a time, proactiveness should be shut that such that what needs to happen today needs to happen as of yesterday. And then one thing I learned from all of them is customer centricity is very important, because today at the end of the day, for you, everybody is your customer. Irrespective of a clerk working in an office, right till the CEO of the organization is your customers, including your vendor and service partners. Try respecting them, understand their thought process, understand their feeling about what the administration is doing, believing feedback, take a timely feedback from each of them. Even if the feedback is negative, try to welcome that, rather than taking it into your ego and feeling that if somebody has given a wrong opinion about you, having a grudge against him. Better go to him, understand from him that why did he feel that, and work on it and try to change his perception or her perception. It's very important that you work with feedbacks, believe in customer centricity, work with honesty and integrity, because that is something no compromising when you talk about facility. Because facility management is already a position which is under surveillance. People believe that the people who are in facility management are definitely making a lot of money, and they are definitely in hand with the vendors and partners. So what happens, it make your systems and processes so transparent that at any point of time when you go home, you should be able to have a peaceful night. And whenever you are audited, you are least bothered about what your actions are, because you have worked within the process framework, and everything you have approached is with the transparent way of working. So these are the few things which I learned from my mentors. Customer centricity, ethics and integrity, and clear communication, and working with feedback. These are the some of the feedbacks which I took it in a positive way. I implemented those in my leadership style, and I felt that it really worked substantially. Make them your habit, practice them, and definitely there is nothing in the world which could stop you growing.
No, no, very, very profound. Actually, I think you definitely would have got a lot of good mentors and leaders, which have probably shaped your career. You know what you are today, right? Great.
Some even gave me, when I started my first organization, I was handling admin. And admin at that time when I joined, it was a personal and IR, basically personal and administration. So since I was an MBA in HR, I was reporting to the director. He told me, Abhijit, since you are an HR guy, as of now there is no HR role, but you start handling IR. And IR at that time was a very nasty thing because we had an union. But then I always believe that if at all I am in that position, I have to be unbiased because I cannot be pro organization. I have to be a neutral person between the organization and the union. And there are a lot of things I did. I could, with my approach, with my apprehension, I was able to move out certain people from union. And when the negotiations happened, I also played important role. Then all of a sudden, then he said, Abhijit, why don't you handle legal? And start working with the advocates on a lot of real estate issues. So being an administration, we work with, because we don't have any specific nomenclature. Everything that comes to us has to be handled. So even I had a opportunity to handle legal. I also studied law for 2 years, and I worked with various senior counsel, like Abad Ponda, Arshad Ponda, Ashok Mundarki. These were the senior counsel who managed the entire bigger cases. They were the counsels for various bigger clients in Mumbai, and I could learn a lot of things from him. So it happens that when your mentors empowers you to do things, and when he shows his confidence on you, you start delivering amazing results. Because from an admin I moved to IR, I moved to legal, and then he allowed me to, even we used to have our own ships. He told me, Abhijit, you handle insurance. And when I started handling insurance, I have to do a lot of studies because the ship insurance is something which is not completely available in India. So you have to source a lot of things from international market, and it is called uh, rebroking. That is certain risks are covered by international brokers. So I even studied that. I understand what the international law talks about ship, and that is how I started managing diverse things. And I created culture of managing diversity, rather than doing core admin function. Today, if at all somebody gives me a contract to validate, the legal element in my mind definitely come out with certain clauses which I can challenge, probably, which I am sure no admin guy would even get into that, because I handled legal for 4-5 years. I can understand the nitty-gritty of this contractual document, which is also important for an admin guy to understand, because at the end of the day, contract demonstrate your liability towards the organization. And it's very important, being an admin, you are also aware what are the liabilities you are exposed to. So my mentors showed trust in me, and they allowed me to handle things beyond administration, and that made me more robust and confident in handling anything. I can do anything today. I can handle HR, I can handle I have handled procurement, I have handled travel, so I can do anything. Even now what I'm doing is basically I'm doing a sales job. So even the quality what you inculcated from your mentors, you are even able to sell your product. So that is something I learned.
Superb. So I agree with you on this point about admin. Admin have to wear different hats at different time,
Absolutely.
because most of the functions they may be maybe able to switch one or two hats, but admin sometimes they have to have hat of the IR, sometimes they have to add the finance, legal, HR. So based on the circumstances, you need to think differently, so that you need to also come out the admin mindset and think like a legal mindset, right?
Correct.
This is because anything that goes through admin has to go through different functions.
Absolutely.
So the filtration happens through admin.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you are not aware of the basic fundamentals, how things work, and then you may get caught somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Great.
And apparently, what happens, Wilson? See, a basic thing, if you don't understand finance, you will always struggle in getting your payment process, delayed. Because at the end of the day, you should know what finance expects, and you should start thinking like a finance to ensure that your vendors are paid in time. Your processes are in line with the organization. Because if you just believe that bill comes and send it to finance without even validating it efficiently, probably you are the one who is going to suffer, because finance is just going to throw bill on you. But when you start thinking like a finance, maybe one step ahead of finance, probably you are going to add more value to the organization, in identifying the CPJs, eliminating the wastages, and saving time for everybody, for you as well as for the finance team.
Exactly. So if I have to ask you, when you were talking about admin, I'm talking about a couple of years back, and if you have to compare that with today's facility heads, right? So do you think the role has changed somewhere?
Uh, Wilson, if I have to talk about admin few years back, maybe not very long, maybe 5 to 6 years back, the role has changed a lot. Firstly, when we have, if I have to take some 10 years back, we have seen admin moving to the FM, but then we have seen FM moving to IFM, wherein you are responsible for complete integrated facility management. But then, having said that, when you are able to manage the IFM, basically which include your soft services, technical services, physical security, and so on and so forth, when you are managing cafeteria, transport, fleet management, it's like big bundle of services. The role from admin has moved to facility managers and then to IFM. The role has been expanding. And then COVID has been a game changer, wherein the sustainability, ESG, and employee well-being has been added to facility managers kitty. And today, admin is also considered to be an ambassador for an organization, because your employees well-being is directly linked to your profitability. So in any case, the facility head is always responsible for intangible delivery when you talk about productivity and efficiency. Before COVID, hardly anybody knew about indoor air quality and so on and so forth. But today, once COVID came and it got eliminated, every employee in the organization is well aware about what indoor quality is about. So so now you have to take each and every step to understand actually what an indoor quality is about, how you can mitigate and create an a very congenial environment for your employees. How are you going to demonstrate that you are really maintaining the indoor air quality? And maybe a decade ago nobody was aware about what a sick building syndrome is or a sick office syndrome is. But today you have got various avenues to understand that where your employees are really safe within the organization. So employee well-being has been priority for everybody. Sustainability has gone into a next level. So we used to talk before COVID sustainability only on dias, but today it has become a mandate for many of the organization, either by ESG reporting or either as a matter of ensuring that even if we are not required to comply the ESG governance, but we need to give back to the community so that something like COVID do not happen. So as an FM, there is a massive scope of use driving facility management as a sustainable facility management. So a facility manager has to be very innovative, think out of the box, and understand how the capex opex could be utilized. At the end of the day, when you go to the board, the first thing that will, even if it is an initiative coming from top down, the management will ask you what is the ROI. So you have to be very confident when you talk about ROI, and you should be able to ensure that your ROIs are achievable, but at the same time you are able to prove that you have delivered the facility management adapting the sustainability model. So the role of facility manager has gone beyond IFM, with the flavor of employee well-being and sustainability taking over as key position in this role.
Great. Very, very good topic, Doctor. Now, since we are on sustainability, so do you think the FM companies and the customers, both of them, are they doing enough on the sustainability piece? What they have to do?
See, Wilson, while we talk about sustainability, but unfortunately, the awareness among the whole community is really missing. Whether it is your service provider or whether it is an FM or whether it is an organization. So there is, these dots needs to be connected and everybody needs to come into a similar page. What I see is, today, even if you are trying to adopt sustainability, see, sustainability is not only about sustainable product, it is also about how those products are manufactured. When you look into sustainability, you have to deep dive, and you have to ensure that what kind of products are used, whether any child labors are used in those manufacturing process or not. So it is always important that whether anybody from FM is going and validating how the manufacturing process of that particular is happening. And sustainability is also creating avenues for you know local people first. It is giving opportunity to local people first. So whether that is happening or not, that is very important for the FM to come ahead and step in and validate that. Merely going by the declaration from your service provider is not something what I would believe in. And again, when we talk about sustainability, diversity play a very important role. You also need to see where the vendor or your service partner who is working for you or servicing you or delivering products to you is really believing in adapting diversity and inclusion as a culture. So sustainability is a very elaborate topic at the end of the day, and it is not about sustainability, it is giving importance to the entire fundamental of ESG, which is one thing is environmental, second is social, and third is governance. When you combine all these parameters together, that's how the flavor of sustainability gets defined completely. And it's very important for every FM to understand the fundamental of ESG in detail if you want to achieve sustainability as your successful parameters.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, as an industry, we play a very important role in driving the sustainability agenda for the customers,
Correct.
right? And it is all the more important for industry like us to be more educated on sustainability.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, if your customer is more aware than you, then definitely that's a failure, because admin handles everything wherein there is a massive potential of following sustainable practice. And if I have to look into few of the things like your building, wherein lot of sustainable practices can be brought into place when you manufacture a building. So even my thesis which I wrote during my doctorate was the role of facility manager in the building construction stage. Because when you start right the plinth, from the plinth till the building is delivered, if the FM is aware, he can play a very important role in not only ensuring whether sustainability is adapted at every step, but also ensuring that the sustainability is really practiced as a process. And apparently it's very important for FM to also ensure that small tweaking ideas can save a lot of money, but at the same time can contribute a lot towards the towards the nation. When we talk about sustainability, energy is one of the fundamental which we are managing together. If all employee transportation, these are few of the things wherein if we are very innovative and intelligent in adapting certain practices, definitely we can do a lot of value addition for our client, for our organization, when we talk about sustainability. So even when I talk about my business, the product which I deliver, I definitely come out with an option that this could add value in electrical saving, and this could be a regular product. So for me, it's important to keep my customer appraised. I cannot force him, but at least I can convince him, I can educate him that what sustainability is about, and how the ROIs are calculated when we talk about adapting a sustainability practice. So it's very important for FM to understand the fundamental of sustainability. Just by saying that I have changed these CFL light to LED light doesn't become a sustainable practice, because sustainability is a very deep subject, and you need to understand it in detail, you need to practice it, and you need to also educate your colleagues to follow it, because sustainability is not a one-man show. It has to be a collaborative action right from top to bottom, and that's how you are going to achieve result.
No, very well said. Very well. I think I completely agree with you, because there are both tangible and intangible benefits on
Absolutely.
this, and only people look at the tangible benefits, ignoring the intangible benefits.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, now you said you also wrote a thesis, right? So may I know, doctor, you did doctorate. What was the subject?
See, my subject was general management, and when you do a doctorate or a PhD, there are a lot of subjects which are related to economics, financial management, legal, and so on and so forth. But your expertise is valued or judged by the research what you do. And my thesis and research was the role of facility management during the building construction stage. And why I did this was, one, it was definitely on the sustainable part, and secondly, what happens when a building is constructed and handed over to the FMs, right from interior fit out till management, FM keeps on cribbing that, this is not right. The electrical shaft, the plumbing duct, and everything should not have been this way. It has to be that way. Probably had it been this way, I would have, got efficiency, and probably the operational thing could have been much easier. So it's better, when the building itself goes into a design phase, the FM should get involved, and he should spell out his operational concerns, when the building is ready, how this can make the FM's life very easy and the operational become hassle free. Otherwise, many a time a flaw in design create a lot of operational issues, and at the end of the day, what happens, FM has to do just troubleshooting job, which should not happen. If the infrastructure is built in a right way, probably the operational issues are eliminated at the initial stage itself. See, operations are going to come when when building is put into use, but at least certain things which can get eliminated by design probably could have been rectified at the inception itself if the FMs are utilized during the construction phase itself.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So now, if someone wants to have a look at your thesis, will you be happy to share with them?
Yeah, absolutely, no
So
problem.
will you be able to share a link with us so that along with this podcast, we can also attach the link in case someone wants to go through it and understand, learn?
Absolutely, I can do that.
Very nice. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, doctor, coming back to your life now, what uh, are the couple of early mistakes that you did in your journey? Can you give us one or two instances you felt, this I could have done it differently, or something like that, when you learned a valuable lesson?
See what happened, as you are young, and ambitious, you inclined to do everything, and many a times what happens, you feel empowered monotonously. You feel that, if I am FM, probably I am empowered to do things at my whims and fancies, and you try to bring transformations, without even getting into the shoes of other. And then what happens, suddenly, you start creating some processes and procedures without even understanding, how the stakeholders around would look into. You may be right, your processes could be robust, probably they could add a lot of value to you. Maybe you believe in, getting it approved by management and enforcing it to the people. But at the end of the day, what happens, I believe that, when you start enforcing such things, people start challenging it, and many times your process, rather than becoming success, it becomes a disruption. And you have to, rather than implementing it, you have to start thinking, how do I bring it into force, or how do I convince other people now the process is approved and I have already initiated. So I think one thing I learned is, when you do any action, don't be fearful of your stakeholders challenging it. Even if they challenge it, gain their confidence, and understand what the challenges are. If you are able to mitigate those challenges, is well and good. If not, at least try to convince them that why this could not be done. But I think getting citation and confidence from stakeholder is very important. You may get an approval from management based on your recommendation and your proposals, but unless I believe stakeholders are in confidence, things cannot be worked better. Because what, at the end of the day, the processes and policies are required to be followed by the people around the organization. And if the stakeholders, they are not comfortable with what you are trying to bring in, or if their confidence or concurrence are not gained, many a times it becomes that your processes become bottleneck, and rather than implementing it, it becomes a challenge to implement. So it's very important. That one thing I learned, that whenever I initiate any action, rather than working on it, rather than even getting into a process formation, I will start to share my thought process with others, take their ideas, and then start working on it. It should not happen that I create the whole thing, and then apparently I have to scrap it out because the stakeholders are not aware, confident with it, or they are not inclined to support me, and rather they go to the management and say, no, this could be a disruption, please keep it or park it for the time being. So you have spent so much of hours, so much of time in putting your efforts in building a process, and you see that it is lying in a junk box. So rather than your action becoming a reality, start with a backward process of taking concurrence from stakeholders, and then start working on anything which you intend to do.
Yes, absolutely right. Thanks for that piece of advice. What has been your biggest achievement so far?
See, one thing is, I won't name the organization, but then one of the biggest achievement, if I have to see in terms of results, I convinced management to move into a hybrid mode of working. because every organization believes that, to ensure that work needs to happen, people have to come to an office. And I realized that, it's not necessarily, because at the end of the day, certain things can happen from anywhere. And if you are trying to create a culture which can give an avenue for a work life balance for your employees, definitely, the productivity is going to be high, and your employees feel empowered because you are allowing them to work from anywhere without, a mechanism of surveillance. Of course, your KRA KPIs are always judged and monitored, but at the same time, if you allow them to work from anywhere, they feel empowered, they feel confident. And especially in the metro cities, traveling is a humongous job. So for, employees who are coming from a different location, for them, it's always a pain. And when they feel that, they are allowed to work on a hybrid model for a few days in a way, definitely, the morale is always high. So convincing a management on adopting a hybrid model was one thing, and then successfully implementing it is a second thing. And third thing, when I introduced an hot desking, there was a lot of resistance which I contemplated is going to happen. But when we started working on the design theme itself, parallelly we started working on, change management process, wherein I took all the employees into confidence. And I started, from my previous lesson, wherein I believe that, taking the concurrence of the employee and masses is very important when you try to bring a change. So I started working on change management, making them understand that what is the importance, if they gave their seats, the legacy concept of owning a seat, moving into a, hot desking, what are the benefits, what are the pros, what are the advantages, and what are they going to gain when they work on, a collaborative mechanism. And post we sought their concurrence, the results were effective, it were very explicit, it could be seen. And there was no disruption when we started implementing. Once the office was ready, we thought that, it was adapted by everybody in a very happier manner. Rather, we thought, many employees who wanted to be at home started pushing that they want to come to office because of the office environment, wherein they are able to work with their team when they work on scrum or project as a, as a collaborative team member. So that was one of the biggest achievement I feel I brought when I changed the mindset from a conventional way of working to a new way of working.
Great. I think people would have praised you and blessed you also because of this way of working. Because today, nowadays, if you seriously ask me, even at least a lot of in countries are moving towards 4 days working, and to give people more work-life balance and
Correct.
have more personal time, right? So tell me, doctor, you are on the boards of a lot of companies. You run a company yourself as a CEO, and you are also are in community building and social networking. So how do you get time for yourself? How do you manage your work-life balance?
To an extent, what happens, holidays are only the time when I dedicate myself for my family. Because for me, what has happened, Wilson, ever since I joined admin, the fraternity has become extended part of my family. And for me, it's very important because I always believe in, connecting with fraternity. And for me now, the fraternity is not only about the FM, it is also about the education institute where I am on board as an advisory board member, connecting with students. Sometimes what happens, your passions, take you down to such a place wherein, unless your family supports you, you are definitely not able to move there. For me, everything is a priority. So my family is very, supportive here to ensure that, I am able to explore and, achieve my ambition and goals towards the community and fraternity. And definitely, whatever time I get, and wherein I don't feel that, now I have to engage into work, especially the holidays or the public holidays or the, major leaves, I try to spend it with my family, and I do try to give them time. Because at the end of the day, I believe that, you need to balance them well. Maybe the ratio can be 70-30, but be loyal when you are doing that 70 or 30%. Be there, because when you are with the family, don't even think that, I have to take a call or I have to speak to somebody else. Because create a team, develop a team that when you are on the 30% mode of, working with your family, your team member are also, competent enough to ensure that my boss is in on holiday, so I am not going to bother him, and I'm going to do whatever is in the best of my capability and interest, and I'm going to ensure that I achieve the result. and I give them empowerment that even if you fail, the failure comes to me and success goes to you. But at the same time, give them an empowerment so that they, in your absence, they work with that level of trust, and then try to utilize that 30% full for your family, so that when you are with your family, you are 100% for your family, and when you're 70% for your community, you are only for the community. So that is the mindset I work with.
Yeah, so nice of that. Because I one thing I resonate with you is family support is extremely important whatever you do. Because see, uh, without you'll get all the support from your extended family, but unless you don't get from your family what is needed, you will never be able to concentrate on your professional life or your extended family. So family support goes a very long way.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
coming back to the FM companies, right? There are so many IPCs and self-delivered companies. What is the one piece of advice do you want to give them? Because are they doing enough, or is still there a area of improvement where they can do more?
See, FM is a very challenging task, and nobody is 100% accurate. Even if you have to say that I am an IPC, or I am one of the known brand in the industry, uh, what matters is how efficiently you are taking your business is important. And when you are taking your business, it's not about how efficient you are trying to generate your revenue. It is all about how efficiently you are creating that development of your people. That is more important. The quality hiring, the consistency is more important. And what I see, once the people are established as a brand, probably their focus moves to a different angle, and that's where people get lost. And I've seen a major disruption happening, a successful company even downfalling because their focus has moved into something else. So I think money has to be the priorities. Everybody wants to be successful, everybody wants to be profitable, but these are, at the end of the day, today, even if you bring in technology cannot 100% replace human being. So how efficiently you are empowering and grooming your people are more important, and ensuring that you take them to a next level becomes accountability of every line managers who are associated with this organization. If the operations manager is managing the supervisors, he should ensure that his supervisors are competent enough to groom and nurture the janitors. If the if a senior manager is responsible for managing the operations manager, he needs to ensure that adequate training is being provided to them in terms of customer centricity, the industry trends, technology, and so on and so forth. So it has to be a continuous process, right from down to up or up to down. But you need to ensure that you spend a humongous amount in your talent grooming and nurturing, and certain position which you hire, and they are the key people. Janitors are the foundation, and if you don't educate them, you don't nurture them, you don't make them look presentable or perform presentable, probably that's where they are your brand ambassador. That's where I've seen the bigger companies even losing their face, because at the end of the day, they are the one who are seen on the ground. And if you are not creating the culture of customer centricity, the culture of courtesy, how their way of body language should be, a minor thing needs to be looked into, and you develop them tomorrow, give them an opportunity, or confident that there is an opportunity that you move from janitor to a supervisor, and supervisor to a operation manager. If you give them a ray of hope, probably people will perform. At the end of the day, everybody wants to grow, and people who wants to grow definitely will deliver. So it's very important that I believe that people should spend significant time and amount even on the grooming and nurturing of people, right from top to bottom and bottom to up. And every position in an organization is important, and keeping themselves in the race, they need to be aware of what the trends are. If I'm a manager, if I know everything, it doesn't mean that my team knows everything. So I need to cascade that information to my team, so as they need to cascade to their team. So learning and grooming is a continuous process, and I think the FM organization should focus on this. They do a lot, but how much is evaluated, how much is checked that they are really performing in line with what has been taught. People have a generic reason to say that there is a lot of attrition, but why is this attrition happening? Why are not able to retain people? See, everybody is paying almost the same salary what the other players are playing, but there could be certain element which can keep them intact, and that element you need to understand. And if you take, if you win over those elements, probably you will be a successful IFM service provider.
Yeah, completely agree. Absolutely bang on. So every organization definitely has an agenda of profit, but the profit should be with a purpose.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. Right. And as you rightly said, if you take care of your employee will take care of your company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So I have seen there are companies, yes, who are actually walking the talk. Whatever they are saying, they do it, and they really mean it. And really know good companies will do that. So, doctor, last two questions. What keeps you motivated?
See what happens. I keep on thinking a lot, and I always believe that when you practice what you say, or when you talk the walk or walk the talk, probably you will always feel charged up, because I keep on thinking a lot, and I come out with a lot of innovative ideas, and I always believe in diverse thinking. Today I do something, uh, I create a new idea and try to implement that. And once I try to implement that, and once I see that, it started creating or nurturing uh, things, probably that is one of the factors that keeps me motivated. Secondly, I always believe in nurturing talents, and I'm somebody who start developing people rather than hiring people. And when I see that the development strategy or your processes, what you enforce on your people, and they start giving results, you feel that you as a leader have really added value to their lives, to the value of their family lives, and to the community and fraternity as a whole. And these are the things which keeps me motivated. I am somebody who has always believed in ethics, integrity as a fundamental principles. And then I always feel motivated, because when I go home at 12, 1, 10, 7, whatever it is, I'm able to sleep at least peacefully. And that is one of my, sense of motivation, that, when I wake up, I am very charged up and positive. That is something I fundamentally believe is very strong for me.
Yeah, very true. I completely resonate that fundamentals. If you have strong fundamentals of ethics, integrity, I think that starts. The block building starts from there,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then your team members. There is a saying something called shadow of a leader.
Correct.
When they see the leader behaving the way, then it inculcates indirectly without doing anything. They will follow you.
Yeah, absolutely. And many a times people who think of doing something wrong, when they see the others are doing what my leaders is doing, probably they also start changing their self. So it is many a times it's go into a autopilot mode. You, rather than you saying something, people try to change their self when they see their peers and colleagues are already pursuing the leaders fundamentals, and trying to bring that change in their career path.
Yeah. So what happens, even I, for that matter, if there are circumstances where I don't know what to do because you're on a cross path, you don't know which side to go. So I keep few of my mentors, what will he do in this situation? How will he think about this situation? What is that he will do?
Right.
So then the path starts identifying by themselves, so then it becomes bit clear. Then you take one step, then it becomes more clear, then you take the second step, then it's become more clearer. Then
Right.
it becomes crystal clear, okay, then you
Right.
get to know, okay, this is what. Otherwise, you if you hit a roadblock, you don't know what to do. Certain times you unintentionally you do something, and that happens, what it should not happen, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so uh, one more thing I want to ask you: if someone is starting new in this industry, fresh graduate, or someone aspires to come into the FM industry, what is that piece of advice would you like to give them?
See, Wilson, as I said, I go to various colleges and try to bring in, those freshers to the community. So I always tell them one thing, if you have to be successful in the FM industry, there are few fundamentals which you need to have, as your, culture, which should not change you. Even if the circumstances change, you should not get changed or influenced by the circumstances. First thing is, admin is a very disciplined profile. So you have to be very disciplined when you talk about admin and facility management. You have to be very strong when you talk about ethics and integrity, because it's a non-compromising thing. Admin is a position wherein you can make a lot of money, but at the same time, you should be greedy about the growth by your contribution, not by making shortcuts. At the end of the day, growths are available on both the ways. And my way, I'm very blunt and clear cut on the fundamental that try to convince people, gain their confidence by your delivery, but don't believe in getting into a culture of pleasing people. That is where you will stop failing, because today few people may like you with this attitude, but tomorrow when you start doing it, it becomes your practice and habit. And maybe when you go into a next organization, probably it becomes your negative habit. So be transparent, be open, be very specific, and your communication has to be very explicit and clear. And always keep your mind open, always believe in change management, because admin is a very evolving journey. Because when we started our career and what we have seen today, there has been a 360-degree shift, a major paradigm shift we have seen in this fraternity. And post COVID, admin has really become one of the profit center. The conception or the perception of people from a cost center has definitely changed, because they have seen, even if it is not a tangible benefit, but a lot of intangible benefit can be seen. And admin definitely is ensuring that they are recovering the salaries for their own people. So always be open to change, never resist. Continuous learning is very important, and especially when you go into administration, have a mindset of customer centricity. And whether don't ever, if you want to be a successful leader, bias, whether it is intentional or unintentional, should never be a part of your habit, because biases are something which is going to lay you down. Because if you believe in biasism, definitely you are going to feel a very big setback. Believe in diversity, have a diverse crowd, whether they are male, female, or any other diverse crowd, whether it is diversity by religion, caste, creed, whatever it is. But ensure that you believe in diversity, because when you practice diversity, you are going to have diverse idea coming in, and these ideas are going to bring a bigger success for you. So when you think of admin, there are a lot of fundamentals you need to work with. And if you start bringing and developing these fundamentals within you, nothing can stop you growing and becoming a successful facility head.
Super. Now I absolutely agree. On one point is there are always various avenues to make quick money,
Absolutely.
right? In largely in our industry,
Yeah,
in if
absolutely.
you think about it, largely there are a lot of areas where you can make quick money. Short-term mindset will always think about quick money,
Absolutely.
right? So when you have a long-term mindset, you'll never think about quick money. You'll only think about growth for yourself, your organization, and your customer,
Absolutely.
and your team.
Correct.
Right? Yes. This is okay. Now I want to ask you about this company, Premium Tech Solution. What is this company, and what thought came in your mind when you started this company?
See, Wilson, when I saw, the admin professionals are struggling largely on certain aspect, which is like, the technical services. The soft services are still manageable, but technical services are challenged for, most of the admin heads. And especially now, many are working with larger demographics under their control. There used to be time when an admin person was responsible for only managing a head office or few of the satellite offices within the within the city. But now the demographics have, the penetration is so deep that northeast or the exterior borders of the countries are also part of their demographics. When you look at maintenance part, especially banks, NBFCs, they work with very remote area. When you look at the maintenance part, service become a big pain for them. And trusting on a reliable partner is a big concern. So it's very important that I try to become their extended arm. When I work for an organization, my demographic become or is confined to only that organization. But when I am an entrepreneur, my demographic is largely to the community or the fraternity as a whole. So I am in a position to serve the community on a larger scale. So my company is into providing technical services like we service and sell UPS, air conditioned DG sets. We do electrical audit. We keep the FM educated the significance of what the electrical audits are. How small thing can play important role in avoiding the disruption in business. And electrical safety is very important and paramount for an organization. how the salary should be conducted and why it should be conducted. Then we take care of the repair and maintenance. So when you talk about repair and maintenance, that is the biggest pain point for most of the organization, especially working in the remote areas, wherein small things are very difficult to be managed. So we have also created a model wherein it is going to be very competitive, but it is going to be qualitative, and we are going to support you round the clock. So we work with various business lines like retail, NBFCs, banking, and then various manufacturing industries. And then we have customized our product to them in such a case that the people who were struggling with the OEM have moved on to us, and they are working with us successfully. That because of our understanding as an FM, we are able to deliver probably what a vendor or a service provider could not do it. Because when I think like an FM, probably I understand what an organization would be looking for. My approach will be more proactive, and for me, not everything is contract. I can go beyond a contract when I see there is a threat. So that is what is more important, because for a vendor or a contractor, his SLAs are more important. But for me, if I am able to contribute beyond SLAs in the interest of my colleague, fraternity colleague, I am happy to do that. And for me, such approaches are very important.
Yeah, good. So, as you rightly said, there are a lot of FM companies and also cleaning companies who are very good in cleaning and soft services.
Correct.
But when it comes to engineering solutions and services, there are very few companies who are at the top.
Correct.
Right. So, but it's very good initiative I think you have taken, and also the best part is you also supply and install.
Yeah.
And then you take over
And
the
maintain. And then we maintain.
Yeah, so end to end, right? I don't think
life cycle is in my hand, and I ensure that the asset life cycle is also maintained. Because in what happens if you go to a basic principle, one person is supplying, somebody is installing, third person is maintaining. And once the MC, the defect liability period is over, third person enters into a system and he starts maintaining it. And we have seen as a case study in what happens, in this whole transition, there are a lot of pilferage which happen. When a person is trying to move out of the first AMC, he will try to tamper with the spare parts and all, because there is lack of accountability. So when you give, the ownership to one single person, he is accountable for end-to-end life cycle, and he can give you committed life cycle of that product. Okay, you give me AMC with delivery and installation for 5 years, I will ensure that I achieve that life cycle for you.
Yes, I agree. Sometimes what happens, we buy equipment for cheap, but we tend to spend on the AMCs and the maintenances and the spare parts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where most of the people they make money.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the perception. People with the e-commerce platform coming to picture, many FMs are of the opinion that that is giving me a substantial cost saving, but without even understanding that what that platform has to happen, offer, whether the product that is coming to you is really going to give you a adequate life cycle. Because somehow the first year can be managed, but when you move into a next year, you will see the product was faulty, and it is already since it was faulty, it was rejected, and it came to you at a rate probably wherein the organization wanted to dispose it at a as a liability from their neck. So it's very important that certain time becoming a penny wise pound foolish is not a right. You may spend that money, and rather than that get an ROI on it, rather than at the end of the day disposing it as a asset within a span of 3 years. So writing it off is a bad opportunity, rather than maintaining the life cycle or extending the life cycle beyond for a few more years is very much important for every FM.
Yeah, true, and I'm very sure your organization will go a long way.
Yes,
it's more important. People don't realize the cost and effect and the cost and benefit of extending the asset rather writing it off, because writing it is also you have to bring the sustainability thing in your mind.
Absolutely.
Right. If you have to buy a new equipment, then the amount of effort goes in that.
Yeah,
rather in the present equipment for a year or so will definitely help you to reduce the capex and the opex.
Absolutely.
Good. Doctor, I had an extremely enjoyable discussion with you, and I really appreciate you coming on a weekend for this discussion, and also having a tight schedule yesterday, right? And then again coming back with that same energy on this. I'm very sure my viewers will be very happy to see this podcast and watch you in person. Right. Any last message would you like to give to me or the fraternity or the community as a whole?
See, I always believe in one thing. Community is our family, try to support each other. And I always believe, if at all you are doing something good, try to share your ideas within the community as large. Because what happens, don't confine your ideas to yourself, start sharing with your community, because at the end of the day, people will always recognize you as a founder of those ideas. That nobody is going to take credit of it, but at least if your ideas are practiced by a masses, definitely you will see that you are successful when you create something new. So share best practices within the community and fraternity, and try to be transparent with the community, try to speak out, share your challenges, and stand with each other as a family. And definitely, we have seen this community has come very closer during COVID, and the way we were helping each other. But now also, when I was a jury of the award, and I could see a lot of new initiatives happening. So I would say that every new initiative that anyone is doing, even if you are not having opportunity to connect with a larger crowd, try to publish it through social media platform, create your blogs, and try to showcase it to the maximum audience, so that people are able to at least understand what you're doing, and whatever their financials permit, at least they will try to understand and present it before their management. So try to be working under the culture of knowledge sharing, and share whatever is there with you openly and transparently.
Exactly. And keeping all these things in mind, we have developed this your facilities management marketplace. It's an open platform. You can read blogs. There are a lot of blogs related to the industry. You can learn. There are a lot of podcasts like yours, industry leaders. Come watch. It's all free. It's absolutely free. What we have to do is we need to bring lot of wealth of information in one platform, so that people know what is this industry. Otherwise, if someone wants to know today, if you are seriously tell you, go and ask anyone what is facilities management. A layman may not be able to know what does this industry, but if you look at it, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry today.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
what we do as a back end, we are actually ghost employees, actually supporting the entire building,
Yeah,
or, or,
absolutely.
or, or the property, and people don't know this is the community who's actually holding the entire building together.
And many are of the opinion that facility management means housekeeping. Maybe
Exactly.
people who are not deeply aware of what facility management it is managing the office and cleaning, and ensuring that the toilets are clean, and the offices are clean. But if you see, it's a very strategic role, and the
Yes.
level of portfolios what is being handled by FM is so wide that getting that, and that's what we are struggling. And that is what we believe, why we go and meet people, educate them, because you need humongous knowledge for the community to learn and bring it into practice. And today what we are struggling is, we are finding very difficult to get right talent to manage right thing. And then it's very important, we as a leaders, the platform what you have brought in should be accessible to, should be utilized by larger community members in their interest, and in the interest of the fraternity and community. Because the blogs or the content written by the fraternity leaders should be read by them in detailed. And apparently the access to the relevant leaders should be available to them, because if they want them to be their mentor, probably those leaders should also stand and extend their mentorship to these people.
Sure, completely agree, doctor. I think the wealth of information and knowledge that you have, and the kind of thing that you do for the community, I think it is commendable. I really appreciate that. I want to thank you from the bottom of the heart on behalf of the entire community for the
Thank you.
kind of work you do. We'll definitely be in touch, doctor, and let's see how we can grow together.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Wilson. It was definitely nice connecting and talking to you. And definitely, we have a long way to go. Let's collaborate and do something more for the fraternity and community, which we can do together.
Sure. Look forward to that.
Thank you.
Look forward to that.
Thank you.